Irreverent, entertaining, cool. You're listening to LA Talk Radio.
You're listening to the Hypno Fairy Godmother Show with Shirley Yance, only on LA Talk Radio.
Hello, and welcome to the Hypno Fairy Godmother Show. I'm Shirley, a clinical hypnotherapist here in Southern California, and my specialty is working with the LGBTQIA community, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I thought, this time of year, the way things are going right now, we need to hear some happy. We need to hear some funny, because this is just kind of bogging down on everybody. So we're going to start the show like we start every show. So make sure you're in a safe place and take a deep breath. And slowly exhale a smile. And that's what we want. So, as many of you know, we are into Pride season. We're getting towards the end, but it never really ends sometimes. So, I keep recommending to people, just keep checking online for all the virtual prides that are out there. There are a ton of them. So, keep checking those out. I was trying to keep track, so not working. So, unfortunately, it's kind of going to have to be up to y'all to just keep checking online and seeing what's going. So, today I have a wonderful guest that, I wish I could see, but she's coming back to me now. Her name is Traci Kanaan. And Traci, how are you doing today?
I am doing great. Really good today.
Yay! Thank you. How's it doing in Florida?
Oh, it's Florida, where you can type in your birthday and Florida man and something will always pop up. So it's Florida.
It is. So this month I have been working on people, trying to get people in that make me proud of the community and the work that we do. And, you do a lot of the same people that I do that sometimes seem a little on the fringe, which they shouldn't, but they generally do. And, me and Traci met at Hypnosis last year, which is a huge hypnotherapy convention in Vegas every year. And I was one of the many people in her class. And from that point on, I sort of became this weird groupie, kind of following what she's doing. And so I felt really bad when I said, "Do you remember me? I was one of like 90 people in your class. So, I don't know why I wouldn't stand out." So can you tell everybody like how you got started doing hypnotherapy, and you had kind of an interesting route to hypnotherapy?
I did. It was definitely one of the weirder routes to take with hypnotherapy. I actually got to hypnosis through the narrow gateway of stand-up comedy. And through that narrow gateway, I actually about 10 years ago got hired to perform at a clothing optional resort, starting way back then. Through my travels as a comedian, I ended up becoming very well known in the nudist community, and then they kind of passed me through the swinger community, and then I kind of got passed through the BDSM community. So maybe 5 years into that, I was walking through a playroom on one of the swinger cruises that I was hired to perform on. And I heard a girl having a great time, and I said, "I want that." And I started asking around, how do I get that? And hypnosis came up. So I was hypnotized for the first time in probably 2014 or so, and I liked it. It was a good experience, but I wanted to learn more about it. And because now I've been entertaining swingers, nudists, and the BDSM community for 10 years, I had great insight into what their problems are, what they think about, because as a comedian, I study people for a living and I watch people. The comedians who talk too much, like I'm doing right now, are not really good comedians. Anyhow, so I had a lot of knowledge from watching this group for, 5 years straight and now 10 years straight. And so that ended up becoming my niche. And as I got deeper and deeper into learning more about hypnosis, I ended up going down a hypnotherapy path kind of by accident. And I just loved it. So my practice is now, I won't say almost exclusively swinger, nudist, and BDSM, kink, and fetish, but probably 80% comes from those markets. So
yeah, it's interesting because when I promote that, and I promote the communities that I work with, people sometimes kind of look at you like, is that all you work with? And I'm like, no, other people call me too.
mm-hmm.
But when you don't have to hide who you are as a client coming in, it makes things so much easier.
It really does, because you can get right through to it. Because when you're one of them, boom, they know that whatever they tell you about their crazy life is, you've seen it, you've heard it, maybe you've even done it, and you get it and you don't judge it. So they know they're safe with you, and they can just be and not have to worry about going to a more traditional therapist that, if they say that they're into something, that they don't have to worry about the backlash or the misunderstanding.
And that's something that, and because they're afraid that they're either going to have to explain what they do, which can be really embarrassing for them, or they have to, feel so insecure that they'll leave a major part of them out of the contact information. And so I want people to come in and just go, okay, I can put this all down and just get going.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. And it's funny because once one person finds out that this is what you work with, these are the people that you work with, and you're just casual and it's no big deal, then it's like, and they told people and they told people.
Yep. That's what happens.
So, it's interesting because at first, when I first started advertising, even just advertising that I worked with LGBT people, I got some backlash. And then I started saying, okay, well, I also work with the BDSM and, the other communities. And it was like, what are people going to think about you? And I was like, that I'm a hypnotherapist that doesn't judge people.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that happened at that same Hypnothoughts was I was taking a class and we were talking about, what our specialties were. And I said mine. And somebody turned around and said, yeah, I've been seeing a lot of your kind lately.
Ooh.
And yeah, I was like, excuse me, what? And where that could have dropped me down to not ever wanting to work, change my whole specialty, change everything, it just made me more committed to go, wait a second. People are people.
Mm-hmm.
And my other favorite thing is people go, well, what do they come to see you for? And I'm like, stress, anxiety, the same thing everybody comes for.
Yeah. Self-acceptance.
So I think it's funny that people just assume. Now, sometimes they come in and they do have sexual questions. They do have things that they need to, that they want to work out, but it's not like people have a really weird misconception of, of who we work with.
Yeah, it's like because you have a kink or a fetish, or because you identify as LGBTQ, that's their only issue, and it's not their only issue. Sometimes it's not even an issue at all.
Right.
Sometimes it's they've already done the legwork on whatever makes them different by society standards, but there's this other little thing in the back of their head that's kind of tripping them up as they go. So yeah, it's always amazing to see what what people think. And I'm out there with what I do. I kind of have to be as a comedian, and it makes me very accessible as a hypnotherapist. And that when people ask me what I do for a living and what's my niche, I tell them erotic hypnosis and erotic hypnotherapy. And if they're not tuned to that, they'll dismiss me, and that's fine. I don't care. Right. But then there's always, really? What's that about? Tell me more. And then
exactly.
And then they'll have a question, and I say, I just want you to phrase it in terms of, I have this friend. And that way it's easier to talk about. Friend.
Yes, asking for a friend.
Yeah, just tell me you're asking for a friend. And when you refer me, you have trouble sleeping. That's it. That's all you tell people.
Yeah. I always love that. Or they'll come up and they'll talk really soft next to you.
Yeah.
And go, can I have your card? Like, yeah, here you go.
Exactly.
And you can give that to a friend. Here, take an extra one for you too, just in case.
Yeah.
It's, and I know that especially with you being a comedian and you doing you do a lot of you go to events, how has this affected, this virus has kind of messed everybody up?
It has. I'm not gonna lie. I had every comedy gig from here through the end of August vaporize. One of my gigs, I've worked 12 years in Ohio, and we're going to try and do an online show. I've already done one online show from my living room. We take apart the whole house, set up the lights, and I do the show from my living room. And I made it more of a visually interesting show than a stand-up show, because talking to yourself, trying to make yourself laugh sucks. And so it's just, so luckily I've been cross-training. I always like to learn new skills as a comedian, because I find that I use everything. So back in October, I started doing belly dance, and later this year, tap dance. So I incorporated belly dance and tap dancing into my comedy show. So I don't have to talk to myself, but being a bigger girl, whatever, I just make it cute. And then I do like a little burlesque routine. And so it's more visually funny, but at least I'm not telling jokes to myself. And, when I'm
right.
Did you laugh? Was that funny? I'm like, I didn't hear you. Hello. It was funny when I filmed in the clubs. I don't see you laughing because I'm on speaker view, it's just, so it is what it is. That makes it
harder, having a laugh track behind you.
Yeah, well, I actually did that. And then the last show I did, the boyfriend had a couple of beards and he kept hitting it. I'm like, stop it. I looked at the video and you could see, isn't he so cute? I'm going to freaking kill you. And it was just that kind of thing. So we're going to have to watch this next show. But he just kept hitting the laugh track. Baby, you're funny.
It's always great when you have help.
Yeah.
Nothing's better. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like, as a comedian, you have hecklers, which is like an unwanted comedy helper. and I had an unwanted comedy helper that night, but I sleep with him. So it was like hard, you know, it's like, baby, I love you.
Yes.
But you're not getting any tonight.
But tonight,
too many times.
Exactly. It's like, no, we don't need that much laughter. Now it really looks.
Comedy
Now it really looks serious. But it's not that, you know, I've noticed exactly. I've noticed that a lot of performers, from comedians to drag performers, everything, have gone online, and it's made it harder. But in another way, it has made everybody, you know, get a little better with that electronic stuff.
Yep, it's thinking differently.
You know, I see most of my clients online.
Yeah, I see some online. Most of them come in person, and I'm glad, actually. I did a couple of clients in Zoom when we first did the quarantine, and it was not my favorite thing in the world. I had one gentleman fall asleep, and so I had to log. I'm like,
oh,
I don't know if you can hear me, but you're still in trance. Wait right there. And then I logged off, logged back in. He still zonked out on the couch. I'm like, you're such a good boy.
Exactly. It's like, wow, thanks. Yeah. I know that's always like my biggest fear, is that, you know, you're looking and it's like, oh, okay, that's not good. My client's asleep, which is why I generally put in if you haven't heard from, you know, my voice within the last, you know, 5 minutes or so, please wake up enough to, you know, check back in, make sure we're still connected.
Yes, exactly.
That always helps.
You know what? I let them sleep because I get paid the same.
Well,
kidding,
that's
kidding.
True.
I do not do that. I don't know. It totally works.
It's like one way or another. You know, you feel rested. Exactly. You feel rested. You feel fabulous.
That buzzsaw on your recording, that was totally not you.
Yeah. You know, I'll try to edit that out for you just a second. Wow. So have you noticed, you know, with you've did one show online,
mm-hmm.
You know, did it seem to, besides the extra help that you got, is that something that you pretty much think is going to be, you know, doable for the time being?
For this year, and you know, it's I've been doing comedy 17, probably close to 18 years. And so I do comedy and hypnosis, and I think it's going to be where I have to make a judgment call here by the end of the year and see where comedy's at, because there's a lot of concern that when people laugh, they expel their whatever COVID further than if they cough. Yes. And that, but I kind of like, laughter is the best medicine. So it's going to be a judgment call that I'll make at the end of the year, that if I want to, keep straddling both worlds as a comedian and a hypnotist, or if I'm just going to go all hypnosis and, find another way to entertain, but maybe in a more positive, long-lasting effect. Because right now I say, as a comedian or as a hypnotist, I can make you feel good for an hour or a lifetime. One just has a 2-drink minimum. So
exactly.
It may be a lifetime and it's an hourly rate. I think that's where it's going to go. But most people have kind of lost their sense of humor too. I'm noticing that. I'm looking through even my comedy friends on Facebook. They're angry, and there's not a lot of funny out there right now. And I know people think, oh, we need comedy more than ever. No, we need people to unpucker their rear ends and lighten up.
Exactly.
Because the truth is, COVID or not, nobody's getting off this earth alive. Nobody. So
right. enjoy yourself.
Enjoy what you have, what you can for as long as you can.
Exactly. That's kind of why when I started doing the show, I was like, I want it to be something where people don't go, oh, more bad news. I'm like, no, that's not how we're working here. It's there are good things out there. Sometimes it's just seeing how people look at each other.
Exactly.
Being in LA, even when you're stuck on the freeway, you get to kind of look in windows and go, and then you make up little stories about what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that just always makes me laugh. But, and then you'll see other people just rocking out in their car.
Exactly.
They turned up the radio and decided, this is it.
Yeah.
I'm going for it. And I think that, just trying to find any funny.
Exactly.
A lot of drag queens that I know have gone online. And part of it so that their name stays up there, and they don't have a place to go and perform either. And so it's giving people an outlet.
Yes.
To just be who they need to be.
Mm-hmm.
And, I know from, your class and from talking to you and stuff that, a lot of your stuff was, you did cruise ships, you did, events and things like that. And, for somebody that's a major extrovert, which you kind of come off as.
Yeah. 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 I've been on since 2011, 20 some swinger cruises, and I've performed on more than half of them, and some of them I even did comedy on. So that was a joke there. Anyway, so
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean the comedy, it's taken a hit, but there's times when I needed to take a step back from comedy. I had a death in the family, or I had to take care of my mom. So this time it wasn't my choice. Whatever, life goes on.
Right.
I got other things I can be doing. I'm making great use of the time, helping other people find the funny in their lives via hypnosis. So it's all good. I'm not too worried, about my comedy career. It was a fun run. If it keeps going on, yay. If it doesn't, I got some really cool stories. In fact, one of them, I ended up doing a show a couple of years ago, and Ron Jeremy was in the audience. Actually, I did 2 shows. He was in my 2013 show in Vegas and my 2016 show in Vegas. And I got my picture taken with him, and it was just kind of weird. I thought the guy was really, really nice and fascinating to talk to, and now he's in jail for a sexual assault or something. And then I remember when I met him, how the women were just throwing themselves at him, and it's just kind of one of those, you kind of got to watch your actions, I think. But throwing themselves at him, and they would whisper, let me feel your junk, and so he always walked around in sweatpants with the elastic undone and Crocs. He had this pair of green Crocs, which are, I wonder if they let him take those. Anyway, they can't go well with the orange scrubs. Anyway, he'll look like a pumpkin. So they, anyhow, so he would just open up his waistband and grab the woman's hand and put it down there. And I was like, and she was happy.
Yeah, not my thing.
She's got bragging rights, So it was just kind of interesting to see that bit of history come back in a weird form.
So you're not going to post those pictures?
Oh, they're already online.
Okay.
I when the Me Too the hashtag Me Too was coming around, I was hashtag nobody loved me enough because I thankfully never had that problem. But then I'm like, hashtag, what if I'm really ugly? And hashtag,
Oh,
it's a different way of thinking, but that's the comedy mind that, you know, everybody was going off on this Me Too
exactly.
thing. And I'm like, you know, thank God I don't have a Me Too story. But then I started thinking, well, why don't I have a Me Too story? And what if hashtag nobody wants me, you know? And anyhow, so that was just insight into my head that nobody wants to be in for more than like a minute because it's wrong. But that's the comedy mindset thinking. In comedy, I learned that there's yin and yang. For every ugly, there's something hilarious. But it's stepping back and looking at it from both sides and finding the ugly and the joy in the same moment. And so, for instance, my father passed away in 2006, long time ago. He loved hot rods, so we got him a bright blue metallic casket. And I was just joking with my mom. I said, you know, Dad loved hot rods. It's a shame we can't get someone to airbrush flames on it, because it is my dad. You know he's not going up. Anyway, so my mom said, I think I have some magnetic flames in the garage. And sure enough, we looked around the garage, we found the magnetic flames, we slapped them on the casket, and everybody who came in for this horrible, somber occasion of my father's passing started laughing when they saw the flames, the magnetic flames on the coffin, because they knew that my dad would have loved it. And so there's making light of a tragic moment. And that's important for people to see. So.
Exactly. Because some people, you know, just when you can make a fun moment or make people smile when they don't think they can anymore. That's, you know, that's one of the important things that we actually do as hypnotherapists too, because no matter how deep a problem is, there's just something about our clients that you can go, but think about this.
Yes.
And they kind of have to go, oh yeah, okay, yeah, all right.
Yeah, I love doing that with my clients too, where they'll paint themselves in this weird mind loop, and it's a destructive behavior. But it's when I break it down for them and I say, well, you said, I'm trying to even think of a good example. Anyhow, it's just a mind loop that it's destructive. And when they tell this to me, I go, all right, you need to see this for what it is. So step back with me. And then I run through the whole thing and I go, you see how you're setting yourself up to fail? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, did you see the humor in it? And they're like, yeah. I said, all right, now we can fix that. And now that you see where it is and that there's some humor behind this, don't take yourself so seriously. It's stuff that we all do. We didn't know we were doing it, but now we know we're doing it. So let's stop doing it and let's move on with our lives. And it's the best way to work with people, because once they're smiling, they're healing.
Oh yeah, you got them. You know, once you can kind of go, okay, now what about, and, you know, or they'll come up with something and they'll think that they're the only one that's ever had the problem ever.
Yes.
And you go, okay, well, and if you say, well, I know somebody who's had a client, or I've had a client, and just kind of bring them into it and go, you're not alone. You know, it's not just you.
Exactly.
One of the interesting things that I've been getting lately is claustrophobia. That people are, and they think that they're the only ones that feel claustrophobic when you're putting something over your face. And I'm like, well, if you're doing it right, you know, then I can see where it might feel that way, but you've got plenty of places to breathe. And, you just have to go, we're all going through this.
Yeah, exactly. What can you do to unclaustrophobia yourself? Why do you
Exactly.
feel that way? Start digging in. When do you feel that way? I have people feel lonely when they're in crowds. It's the same thing. You could be in a big
It is.
space and still feel claustrophobic because you're not allowed to leave your big space. So it's all
it's
perception
that
in the
whole
mind.
reworking.
Yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
reframing is important because you need to see where you're at and what's the lesson I can learn from this? How can I change it? Instead of poor me, poor me, poor me. When you get in that poor me, nobody
Right.
loves me, nobody likes me, everybody hates me, then you just compound
Yeah.
the thinking. So it's really the most valuable thing I teach my clients is to step away and look back. If you were, on your
Right.
seat and looking down, what would you see? Well, I see a person who's lonely and not making an effort to reach out to others. Oh, okay. So now we're getting somewhere. So if you were to
Ta-da!
reach out to somebody, maybe you wouldn't be so lonely. Well, yeah. Okay. Well, let's go into that a little deeper. And it's just digging those little things to fix those unhappy moments and turn them around.
It's yeah, and that's one of those great things about hypnotherapy is that unlike regular therapy, you're like, I'm just a tour guide,
Exactly.
you got it, I'm just here, Julie, your tour guide, and I'm getting you from point A to point B.
Yeah. You know the way, you just lost the map.
Exactly.
That's it.
That's how it works. And when I first started telling people that I was a hypnotherapist, it was like, why or what? Because usually when people hear hypnotherapist, they go straight to those great 50s movies with Bela Lugosi, and all the women somehow are leaning backwards with no help. I haven't figured that one out yet.
Tell them you're
So,
a comedian and see what happens. Let me tell
well,
you a joke. No, I don't want to hear your joke. Tell me a
yeah,
joke.
yeah, do something funny.
At least when I tell them a hypnotist,
Hypnotize me. I'm
there's a
like,
50-50 chance they think I'm creepy and they'll leave me alone.
that has happened. I have had people look at me and go, "Don't look at her eyes." Really?
Yeah.
Okay, my eyes are gonna tell you I need a little more sleep. I'm a little stressed out. No, don't look into my eyes.
I actually
Look over here.
I had a client refer me to someone in her family, and the family member had come in and she's like, I don't believe in what you do, no offense. And she went to go sit in my recliner. I go, don't sit there because that's the hypnosis chair. It's just, oh, I don't want you to hypnotize me. I said, yeah, you want to sit over here in one of these other chairs. So, oh, thank you. Thank you so much for respecting my beliefs. You're welcome. You're welcome. This is a cooperative relationship.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's not a brick in a head.
And you don't believe it. No. Yeah, my favorite are the people that go, well, then just try something little. It's like, well, like what? It's like, I'm a clinical therapist, not a stage therapist.
Yeah. Try something little.
Yeah, I'm like what? You just gotta go, okay.
Dog, cat, or chicken, pick one.
Exactly.
You can meow, bark, or talk, pick one.
Big one. You know, I don't have a whole lot of time here. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's afraid they're going to get stuck. It's like, what if I get stuck in hypnosis?
Yeah.
Then
I get paid the same. Boom.
Exactly. Whether you just come back to me, whether you come back to anybody, you know, it's the way it works.
That's right. Yeah, most of them, I don't get a lot of the people that are worried about it so much, because I work so much on referral. That's usually, wow, it was really great working with her. You gotta go. And so then I have to baby step them through. This is what hypnosis is, and
right. You know, the referrals are the greatest ways. If you can get referral, you know, just a straight referral business.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, you know, once you work with somebody in a community and you really help them out, then it's like, now you're on the phone chain.
Yep. Yep. That's a good thing.
And we need that.
A lot of times, though, I get clients that are isolated from other people. They find me on a website called fetlife.com, and they're very isolated, and they've not talked to anybody else about it. They just log on to FetLife and they look around. They call a couple of other female hypnotists, and, you know, they almost always get like there's a place for them, but hypnobimbos who,
right.
you know, says stupid stuff, and be my sissy slave, and the guy's like, yeah, no, that's not kind of what I'm about. And so they find me.
That's not what I'm looking for.
You know, and so I lay it out. This is how I operate, and then they're like, wow, really? Yeah, all right, cool. But they don't have a lot of contact with other people because of the shame and the stigma of what their kink or fetish is. So I do get a lot of lone wolves, I guess, for that reason.
Okay.
So, and they're fun to work
with.
And I had one guy who would pay to go to a gay leather event and then chicken out because the guilt and the shame of going to such an event, because he's not a typical participant. He's a little bit different. And so I worked with him on that. He really wanted to go, really thinks it's the hottest thing ever, what happens there, but he felt so horrible and shameful about it. So I worked with him on that, and then got him journaling on what he wants to happen when he goes. So he's been journaling away on that, and every now and then I'll get hey, I went to an event and this happened, and I read through it and I'm like, oh, really hot, man, that's great, awesome, way to go. See, now he's excited about going once they start having these events again. So
exactly.
It's cool. It's cool when you can take that lone wolf and bring him into a pack of some sort. So
exactly. So how do people find you if they want to, you know?
Okay.
If they want to get a hold of you.
All right. Well, for everyday hypnosis, general concerns, they can find me at wingshypnosis.com. WINGS hypnosis.com, or if they are a swinger, nudist, or BDSM, they can go to my other website, which is misshypnotits.com, MISSHYPNOTITS.com, and they can find out what I do for that segment of the community. But I have quite a bit of alternative stuff on my Wings Hypnosis website too. But if you're specifically looking for erotic hypnotherapy, the Miss Hypnotits is the better site to go to.
Yeah. And sometimes it's better to have those separated and not on the same, you know, on the same site.
You know, I don't want the nice church lady who just wants to lose 20 pounds going, what?
Yeah, that going, oh, she's not the one, that's not the
Yeah.
one.
And my, you know what's
So
crazy?
that's great. And
Go ahead.
no,
I was going to say, my people always find me. They usually find me doing an interview like this, and then they're like, oh, she's cool. I want to work with her. And
yep,
so my clientele finds me. They figure it out. You know, and that's the beauty of comedy. That's the beauty of hypnotherapy, is that you don't have to love all comedians. You don't have to love all hypnotherapists. You find your
right.
team, you know, team Rosie O'Donnell is going to be very different from team Larry the Cable Guy. Just, you know,
Very much, yes.
you know, from HypnoThoughts, there's people that have their little niche, whether it be weight loss or their technique.
Yep.
And then, or like us, where, you know, we really don't want boring clients.
Those, exactly.
I'm kidding. I love
It's
you
like,
all.
I know. I'm like, I'm not your average therapist.
Yeah. But, you know, and it's just funny. People know when they click with you, they like what you have to say, they feel comfortable with you. It's a whole different deal than just kind of running through Google going, what's your rates? I'm like, well, it doesn't matter
Right.
what my rates are. If you think I'm a jerk, it's not going to work. So if you don't
Exactly
appreciate what I bring you, it just doesn't matter. So
yeah, most people, you know, they buy a person. Yeah, they buy a person, you know, not really you know, what you can do. It's about that clicking, and it's about that making that connection.
Yes,
Um
that's it.
so this has been tons of fun.
I'm so glad you thought of me. Thank you so much. I appreciate it so much.
Oh, of course. And I'll have all of your information on my website, on Whispering Zen Hypnosis, or on the Hypno Fairy Godmother. You know, usually I put that there. And so if people want to get a hold of you, besides, you know, I'll have everything listed. And, you know, I hope that we get to do this again.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I'd love it.
Thank you. I will talk to you soon. Yay.
Right.
Bye.
Thank you.
Hey. And everybody, to help support the show, we do have the Patreon page with some fabulous perks in it, including some shout outs and some free stuff. And I'd like to once again thank the Bambit app, because we have a great deal going on right now for brand new clients. So if you have any questions for me, any comments, you know, just any ideas for who you'd like for me to talk to, just get a hold of me, hypnofairygodmother.com, or Hypno Fairy Godmother Show on Facebook, definitely. So thanks for tuning in today, and we had a great talk with Traci. So tell your friends about the show, and I hope to see you next week. So let's take that last deep breath, hold it, and breathe out a smile. And I will see you all next week.
You're listening to the Hypno Fairy Godmother Show with Shirley Yance, only on LA Talk Radio.